Hey guys, what's up? It's Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here for the first drive in Franklin, Tennessee of this vehicle right here. What is it? It's a total redesign 2025 Nissan Murano. Our particular one is the top dog trim known as the Platinum trim. But before we get into the industry's first ever crossover SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Yes, you heard right. Nissan was actually first to market with the Murano being a crossover SUV, really being a standout in the industry, not only at that time, but even fast forward 4 generations in with the latest Murano. The reason why is because it still holds true to its roots. It's not a compact, it's a mid-size crossover that's only 2-row. Where you see now in the industry a lot of mid-size, they're all 3 rows, whether you want them or not. And a lot of SUVs are going that more rugged off-road. This is meant to be that classy, luxury-esque, sportier experience. Kind of a different clientele comparing this vehicle to, say, a Nissan Pathfinder. One thing is for certain though, the Murano is still here to stay in the lineup, and there's some big changes for model year 2025. So what I want to find out is, do you go Murano or do you go, say, Chevrolet Blazer? Kind of an interesting comparison, but they're both in the same class. Let's go ahead, let's dive in our Murano and find out. Right off the bat, you're going to find a brand new color for 2025. It's called Aurora Blue, and it's interesting because right now with the overcast here in Tennessee, it looks more like a deep midnight blue, but when the sun comes out, this thing pops with a lot of different color. Teal, lighter blue, and with that darker blue. Really fits the identity nicely. Now at the front of the business, you see the new face. Full LED projector beam headlights, and I like the way they made the headlight housing super slim and sporty. Working our way down, you're gonna have that V-motion grille, but I like the way that they did on the bookends, LED daytime running lamps and our turn signals built in. Continuing down, everything is nice and smooth, nothing stuck on, body color, and then you're gonna have a little bit of gloss black in the lower corner region. Now, as we coast in front of the new face of the Murano, it's actually almost 3 inches wider at the front than the outgoing Murano. Really gives it that extra presence. You'll see up top we have some body color. I'm actually digging, at first I didn't like it, I'm actually digging the gloss black with the Murano name stamped in. And then because we have the top Platinum trim, you are gonna get a forward-facing camera. They hide it very well in the Nissan badge. We have those thin gloss black horizontal bars of the functional grille. And then down below, you're gonna get more functionality with a little bit of flat black and just the gloss black on the lower lip. One of the things you might have noticed when Lori zoomed in was some bright silver finish from behind that lower grille. Guess what? We now have turbocharged intercooled power underneath the hood, but we'll get more to that when we pop the hood. Now, looking at the face of the Murano, I'm actually digging this new style, and comparing it to the Blazer, I think that this is a more timeless design than what the Blazer is looking like. But as we take the elevator up, you'll notice nice sleek hood, matches and meets up perfectly with that trim up front with the Murano name. And then you're just gonna have some fine, crisp lines. That's the direction with this Murano. It's not about making it really bold and very rigid. It's more kind of that curvy, sleek style to it. And they really hit the nail on the head. Now, as we come around the bend, we got some massive wheels. 21-inch wheels on this Platinum trim. I love the way they went with like a satin black, machined aluminum accents, and then you're gonna have your aero inserts, which are a gunmetal metallic gray finish. It's gonna help generate air down the side of the vehicle, but it also generates a sexy look from the side. Now, tires are gonna be 255 on the width, 50 series sidewall, and like I said, 21-inch wheel in diameter. Suspension is now using these high-frequency dampers at all four corners. That's going to help actually make this be a sportier handling Murano. Not so much that it's going to shake your internal organs out of your body like your spleen. You'll be able to keep your spleen, but you'll also be able to handle the twisty bits a little bit better in this new Murano because of that suspension. One of my biggest favorite things about the Murano compared to the Blazer, no gloss black, no flat black, everything painted that beautiful Aurora blue metallic. And I love the way they put the fender indentation in there just to give it a little bit of oomph. Now coming down the side, two-tone. You could get your Murano solid color, or you could go with a premium color choice, two-tone. So we have the Aurora blue with the gloss black painted top. We have painted mirror caps with your LED turn signals. And I like the way that they did like the samurai sword with this shiny bright metalwork that flares out as you get towards the rear of the vehicle. And that you can see that this is not a compact. This is a midsize. And that's where, like I said, the Chevy Blazer, the current Honda Passport, the Toyota Crown Signia, those all fall into that midsize two-row crossover SUV. Color matched on the door handles, gloss black along the bottom. I'm gonna zonk the gloss black. This should be body color. There's no reason for it to be gloss black. I would prefer that instead, but I do like the way they put this nice indentation and the way that it tapers into the rear fender area. Another thing you'll notice is how they kept that familiar shape of the rear quarter glass. You got that samurai sword trim flaring out, and then as Lori kind of swings around, off the rear passenger doors is where you get that extra width at the back of the vehicle. And then of course, many of the Nissan engineers and designers, they watch Raiti's rides and they know what I tend to zonk once you get at the back. They got rid of the exposed wiper. So still on the Blazer, you have an exposed wiper. Here on the Murano, they tucked it in nicely underneath that long black painted roof spoiler, very sleek roof spoiler. It just cleans up the back of the vehicle so nicely. You have your LED lighting that actually goes from one end all the way through the Nissan badge, all the way to the other side. The Murano badge, very prominent. We got all-wheel drive. The only trim that doesn't come all-wheel drive is the base trim. And you could add all-wheel drive to the base trim for just $1,000. A lot of brands don't have it at that low of a price point. But when you go platinum, it comes standard all-wheel drive. And then as we work our way down, I like the way they did the gunmetal metallic painted on the lower bumper area. I don't need an exposed exhaust. I think it just has a nice, clean, elegant look to it. But let me know what you think about the style compared to the Blazer. We're gonna go ahead and pop the hood and talk power. All right, guys, we got the hood pop, no prop rod. That's another plus. You got the hood struts to hold open the hood. Underneath the hood, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I know a lot of people are gonna be disappointed that gone is the V6. Naturally aspirated V6 is gone, but so is the CVT. CVT is gone. It is being used as a boat anchor somewhere. What we do have now is a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. It's the VC, the variable compression turbo. Not as much horsepower as the V6. So 241 horsepower, but it's got 19 pound-feet of torque more than the V6. 260 pound-feet of torque, and it's mated to an all-new 9-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 in about 6.3 seconds. MPGs with the all-wheel drive is 21 the city, 27 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 4,450 pounds. Another thing that's very important to point out, you can't see it because of the engine, but right below all of this is an all-new steering system. So gone is the hydraulic steering rack and pinion. Now we have a full electric steering rack, which actually improves the steering quality and the quickness of the steering. So what you're gonna find is a more agile Murano than the previous generations. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see this thing roll. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Nissan Murano. Ours is the top platinum trim, but the great news is they have 3 different trims to choose from. It starts with SV, then you have SL, and then you have platinum. SV is the only trim out of the 3 that comes standard front-wheel drive, but like I mentioned earlier, you can add all-wheel drive for an extra $1,000. SL and platinum automatically come all-wheel drive. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, talk is cheap and money is time, and I only got so much money. How much is this new Murano? Starting price has an MSRP of $40,000. Our particular one, the way that it's optioned, especially with the new color and this new interior, you're looking at an MSRP of $51,000. But let's see if the Nissan Murano is that total redesigned area that you want to be sitting in. Let's do it Raity's Ride style to the door panels. I love the two-tone, and it's not beige or white. You have black leather style material with the contrast stitching. You'll notice a thin strip of clear. That is ambient lighting. You have 64 different colors of ambient lighting, and then that other trim there in the center, that's actually Murano. Murano is a Venetian glass. That's actually a Venetian style glass trim. Better than gloss black, better than just plastic, looks phenomenal, and it really fits our Aurora blue exterior color. Speaking of blue, you have that blue center armrest area. Do love the white contrast stitching. I have to zonk though the gloss black. I wish they would have put the Murano glass around the window switch gear, but at least it's a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy. Door pocket is giant. You can get an extra large fried catfish sandwich with tons of tartar sauce in that door pocket and a nice large bottle of Mountain Dew to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, the materials are on another level with the stitching, more of that Murano style Venetian glass. The ambient lighting, Lori, I'm sure can pinpoint with her precision the red ambient lighting that we have. And then we also have the 10-speaker Bose sound system, premium sound system. Love this wood style trim. Everything nice and dark, but nothing too glossy. Now, as we slide on in, look at what they did. They actually molded in the infotainment system and the gauge cluster. Why can't more brands do this rather than just sticking it on? So nice to have this hood here. You have a 12.3-inch infotainment system. Obviously, it's got the whole Google Assistant. It's got your Google Maps and wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, full touchscreen. The one zonk I have is to get into the seat controls for your heated seats and ventilated seats, you have to touch the screen. There's no physical buttons, but it's nice that you do get those. 3 stages of ventilated, 3 stages of heated. We pull up our menu. You could slide through very easily. It's a very intuitive, very fast acting system. Let's go into interior lighting. Like I told you, remember how you used to be jealous of that kid in kindergarten that had the box of 64 Crayola crayons with the sharpener on the back? Well, guess what? They get to be jealous of you because now you have 64 different colors, plus you have different themes. Discovery. These are the colors. Passion. A little pink passion for you. Or how about just some peace and harmony? Nice the way they elevate this to really give you sort of like a spa experience in here. And then, of course, we have cameras. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into reverse. There's our backup camera. Nice, clear resolution. Love the trajectory lines. Even the way you can bring up your side angles so you don't scratch those beautiful 21-inch wheels. Really, really nice the way that they did that. And then let me show you out the front. This is where things get good. So you have your standard camera angles, but watch this. Ultra wide and invisible hood. And the only reason why this is blacked out is because obviously we have to have the door open for Lori so that we can film this for you. And you got your 360. Watch this. It makes that noise. You have to turn it off. So really cool just to be able to select any angle whatsoever. Really nicely done, very intuitive. And then we got our home screen here, and I can bring up the navigation like that. We have our real volume knob. And then, of course, the other big touch are the massage seats. Watch this. I go to adjust. Both driver and passenger have massage settings, and you can go and select the different ones that are already chosen and actually subtract or add more or less intensity and speed. So how about that? Your Chevy Blazer doesn't have massage seats. I guarantee you that. Little bit of gloss black, nothing crazy with the Murano name. Real volume knob, which is nice. You got your start-stop button. And then I like the way that they hid the AC controls in the wood trim. And when you touch it, it gives it a little haptic kick to let you know what you're selecting there. So really, really nice to have that. We'll put on recirculation to get that nice clean setup in there. Down below, you have your wireless charger. You can see there's Oscar on my home screen. 2 USB-Cs. I miss Oscar right about now, but we're gonna see him soon. The one thing I know some people aren't in love with is where the push button transmission controls are. It's okay, I just wish it wasn't all gloss black. You got the D mode. That's for your different drive modes. I'll show you that when you come to the business side. Down below is where you could put a bag, a sack, a satchel. Heck, you could go down to we just saw a river down the road where people were catching catfish out of this river with a lake right by it. You could actually catch your own catfish, take it home, fry it up, and just eat it whole. Don't even put it in an actual sandwich. You have that choice. 2 large cup holders, and then we have the upgraded, updated, finally, Nissan key fob. I got like Butterfingers today. Nicely done. Soft touch on the blue. Open this up. What do we got in there? You could easily put, I would say, holy God, you could literally put an NES game system in there with the NES gun and probably about 7 or 8 games. Check this out. If you have an unopened Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and it's in really good condition, unopened, still in the box, those are worth about $65,000 to $75,000. Think about that. Think about what you could buy with that. You could buy a Nissan Murano if you wanted. The seats, premium leather, both the black with the pleated stitching, the great bolstering, nice electric assist for the driver and the passenger with the massage settings, with the heated, with the ventilated, and then up top we have this large panoramic sunroof with a power shade. And I'm not minding the lighter headliner. I feel like it kind of balances with everything else being dark in here with the way that this one is optioned. But why don't you get your butt over here? I got an all-new steering wheel I want to show you in this Murano. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings for the driver's side. So if you have a friend, if you're lucky enough to have a friend, and you want to let them borrow your Murano, they could have their own seat settings and not bother and mess up yours. Now, to get to those seat controls, all within fingertip reach. It's like you could be Liberace on the keys, easy to get to. And then, of course, you got your massage setting. Seats are fan-freaking-tastic. It's those zero-gravity seats. And remember, on the Murano, zero gravity up front, zero gravity seats for the rear passengers as well. I'm 6 feet tall. I love the overall spacing here. You feel less cramped in this than you do the Chevy Blazer. And I just love all the finishes in here over the Chevy Blazer. Steering wheel, I don't mind it. Even though it's a single spoke, it's organized very well. It fits the attitude of this Murano. Flat bottom. You do have gloss black, but you're really not going to be pushing too much because you got a nice thumb drive. You do have paddles on the back of the wheel to go up and down that 9-speed automatic. And you do have an electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you have the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. This does have Pro Pilot Assist 1.1, so you could have that hands-free, semi-autonomous driving. And I like the way you could display the information very, very easily. Once you go into certain things, you could bring up from tire pressure, your directions, whatever you got. Look at this. You could even bring up the map in the center there. That is nice technology. That is very useful. Oh, almost forgot. The drive modes. So we could go into our drive modes. It's simple. Sport, standard, and eco. The one thing I have to zonk is that the gauges really don't do anything when you go into the different modes. But that's like not a major deal breaker. And you have a head-up display. But let's get into that back seat because like I said, there's zero gravity seats waiting for us with the premium leather. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, back seat in this Nissan Murano. New for this generation, the rear doors actually open a little bit further, a little bit wider than the previous generation, just to help with getting in and out. Once you're in, I feel cool as can be back here because not even close to the headliner. The zero gravity seats are good for those long distance drives. Some of these brands, you gotta sit in the seat because you feel like you're sitting in a bucket, and that's not fun. Sitting in these, it's comfortable. Love the leather all the way around. I mean, it's really soft touch. A zonk though on a platinum trim, no pocket behind the driver. I do have rear AC vents. You do have 2 USB-Cs, and you do have 3 stages of heated seats. I have my own pocket, which is good because right down the street is the Franklin, Tennessee Winterfest, and we were gonna go get some caramel and candy apples, and I could slide those back in here. Nothing like a good candy apple to break your teeth. That's what I always used to say to my dentist when I was a kid. I used to hate it when I would go to fairs. You have the manual security shades, so you don't have to. Let me just get this off my chest. I understand that you want to keep the sun off of your baby's face. Like if you have a newborn baby and they're in the car seat, don't just get the like lick and stick window tint. It looks like garbage. What's nice is when you go with a vehicle like this, you have the sunshade already built in and you don't have to get that lick and stick stuff. It looks terrible. But the seats feel great, and then, hey, we got this. Pull this bad boy down. Nice soft, 2 cup holders, 2 Slim Jims in there. Snap into a Slim Jim. And that's another thing. I'm sorry, but the new Slim Jim commercials suck. Nobody does it like Randy the Macho Man Savage. Oh, yeah. But let's go ahead and get into that cargo area and see what we could haul in the Murano. All right, guys, cargo area time. Before I let you in, we got those amazing tail lights on for you so you can see the piano key set up all the way across from one side to the other. It's gonna be unmistakable when you pull up behind this vehicle at night. Even if you don't see the Murano name, you'll know it's a Murano. Love the way it has the button hidden to open up the cargo area actually in the Nissan badge. But what's also great is that if you have the key fob on you, on a platinum trim, it actually will open for you as you approach the vehicle. Now, when you look at the cargo space, good amount of room. And this is why I say a midsize SUV that's just 2-row frees up the amount of room here. You have nooks on both sides for large gallons of Tennessee sun-drenched iced tea, that sweet tea, grandma's sweet tea. How much room do we have though? You're looking at 32.9 cubic feet of space with the seats up, but guess what? The seats do go down, and I like the way they incorporated these new handles. Watch this, it's like 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Boom! Look at that. Drops down, lightning quick. And I like the way they lock in nice and flat as can be. And also underneath, we lift up the cargo floor. What do we got? You have a full spare, and there's your Bose subwoofer. So nice to see you get a spare. Nice to see you have plenty of room. Slide in and slide out whatever you want. You go to Costco, get the 90-inch TV. because you can fit in here. Why not? Go big or go home. Well, guess what? I'm not ready to go home. No sirree, Bob. What I'm ready is to go for a little spin and go on throttle in this Nissan Murano. So hop in, buckle up, and shut up. Let's go for a drive. All right, guys, we are now behind the wheel of this 2025 Nissan Murano. I'm gonna go ahead and start it off in sport. So you're just gonna go in that D mode selector switch and go into sport mode. That's gonna adjust how the 9-speed automatic and the engine behave. And of course, the steering and the throttle sensitivity. Right away, this feels so much different than the previous generation. So much different. Just from the materials, the way everything is organized, the whole 9 yards. But let's see how the driving goes. Now, of course, like I mentioned earlier, when the hood was open, they redid the steering rack. It's an all-new electric steering rack. Makes more sense with a lot of modern cars. That's gonna help with the overall steering feel. Since I have it in sport mode and nobody's behind us, let's go ahead and go on throttle. Are you ready? I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So, of course, with the 2-cylinder turbocharged engine, you're gonna have the sound of an inline-4 turbocharged engine coming from the hood. Not necessarily a bad thing, but I think for some people, you're gonna miss that low down grunt torque. The good news is the torque curve on this VC turbo has been adjusted to pick up a little bit lower in the rev range, but off the line, you are waiting a few seconds for that boost to kick in. What I can tell you is that the 9-speed automatic shifts very smoothly and very quick, which is great. You have that large head-up display giving you exactly what you need, your speed and what the posted speed limit sign is. And then going down the road, even on the 21-inch wheels, the ride is smooth, but yet it's responsive. Going into this right-hand bend, it's showing how those high-frequency dampers have been retuned to really allow this Murano to have a sportier feel. It still has the luxury-esque attitude on the interior, but definitely from a driving standpoint, it feels more responsive, and it actually is quicker from corner to corner than the previous generation of the Murano. The way the steering wheel is designed, it's very easy to see the large 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, and if you want less information, you can bring up less information. So very nice to be able to switch between those two things. Getting to the 12.3-inch infotainment system is well within reach. My big zonk is to get to the heated and ventilated seats, you have to touch the screen. And to me, that's a no-no. They should have put the buttons down by the AC controls. But going into this right-hand bend, going into the corner, you're not getting a lot of body roll. They really cut down on the amount of body roll. The pitch, the lean, everything has been adjusted with the chassis and with the suspension, like I said, to just make it way more responsive. The good news is I'm so glad that they don't have any simulated sound being pumped in through the Bose speaker system to try to make it sound like it's still a V6. But if you're not used to hearing a 4-cylinder engine, it may sound a little different to you compared to previous generations. But if you compare this to the Blazer, even though the Blazer still offers a V6, the base engine is a 4-cylinder turbo. Even though it offers a V6, I feel like you're getting way more when it comes to this new Murano. The style, the technology, and the room in here is fantastic. But the way this thing handles really does the business nicely. And then, of course, if you hit the drive button again, that's gonna put you into manual shift mode. It gives you a nice large gear indicator to the left of the dash, and that's gonna allow you to manually shift through the 9-speed automatic with the paddles. And let's see how that goes. I'm gonna come to a complete stop. Nobody's behind us once again. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go. So very responsive. I'm hitting the paddle and I'm instantly getting the shift. And like I said, going through the twisty bits, this thing is really a much improved driving SUV than the previous generation. Previous generation was a little bit soft, so to speak. And I know there's people out there that want that, but the good news is I think they've compromised very nicely, not to alienate the people who just want the pure comfort, but to also give a little bit more of the goodies for those of us that want to go a little quicker, especially on a twisty, tight road. Brakes feel great. I'm gonna go ahead and keep using the paddles. I actually prefer using the paddles, to be honest with you. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go. That was second gear. Third gear. Going uphill, fourth. So I really don't think you're gonna miss the horsepower, the little less horsepower that this has compared to the previous generation's V6. And to be honest with you, torque is more important than horsepower. And this has more torque, and that's why it's got that better drive. It's one of the many reasons why it has that better overall driving experience. Plus, just from a handling standpoint, you have less weight off the front end of the car because this has a lighter engine hanging off the nose rather than the heavier V6. But going down this road, not a lot of wind noise, not a lot of road noise, which is good. Let's go ahead and drive some more twisty bits here. Visibility out the front is great. Out the back, fantastic as well. And don't forget that you do have the Nissan 360 shield of protection, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist. That's becoming a norm. I think as we go through the next couple of years, we won't even really mention that in any reviews because it's like seatbelts. Am I gonna say, hey, this car has seatbelts? No, all cars have seatbelts. So it's just getting to that point where all new cars have the full suite of safety features. It's just that this one has the addition of the Pro Pilot Assist, which is that semi-autonomous hands-free driving. But nice going down the road because this one has some ripped up pavement to it. This is where those high-speed frequency dampers do their job because they're keeping everything comfy and not letting a lot of that vibration and roughness get into the cabin. Because remember, at the end of the day, the job of a shock absorber is to push the tire down, not to hold the vehicle up. That's like the big misnomer. Everybody thinks suspension holds the vehicle up. It does not. It pushes the tires down. So by having that better suspension, that gives you the better handling, but it's also allowing less of the outside world entering into the cabin, especially through the steering wheel. All right, guys, it's been a chilly day. Actually, a freaking cold day here in Franklin, Tennessee, but it's been a good day for the first drive of the new Nissan Murano. We got to thank the whole Nissan USA team having us out so that we can share this vehicle with you. Now it's your turn. Let Nissan know what you think. Are you happy with the Murano? Are you pissed off they got rid of the V6? Are you excited to get behind the wheel, and would you rather have this over the Chevy Blazer? Let me know down in that comment section. Let Nissan know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rise family. We got to give it to LG Raiti. She's got all the gear on, plus she's got everything thermalized to keep her body temperature at 98.6 while she's filming out here in chilly Franklin, Tennessee. Thank you, Lori, for busting your butt. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.